All right, hello, my spring 2025 class 02Z. How are you guys doing today? I wanted to take a look at your chapter 1 discussion board, and I was kind of reading through some of these, and I wanted to share some of my personal experiences with some of the uses I have on a daily basis for being using public speaking, and also some of the anxieties and challenges that I have personally faced in public speaking. So I've been teaching for probably about 2013, so that was probably 12 years ago that I started teaching. But before that, I've been a musician my entire life, so you can kind of see some of my stuff in the background. And so for me, what I learned and what I tend to realize in regard to public speaking is there's this idea of you can't fake experience, right? So in regard to not faking experience, right, I often like to use the example of studying martial arts and fighting and self-defense and whatnot, right? So you can read every book on it, you can watch every video on it, you can talk to every master on it, right? But when it comes to fighting and self-defense, until you get kicked in the face, you're not doing it, right? You don't know how to anticipate certain things. And I always love the scene from the original Lion King movie where Rafiki whacks Simba in the head with the stick, right? And Simba finally learns how to duck, right? And so thinking back to when I first really started the idea of public speaking, right? So performing live and whatnot. For me, what it came down to is doing it over and over and over and over again really was kind of the thing that made the difference for me. I know that, I still get nervous. Excuse me. I still get nervous when I'm getting ready to perform or play or speak or something. But in the aspect of teaching and lecturing, I have done that so much, I don't really have to think about it, right? You just kind of do it. But the idea of performing maybe, say, an instrument or something like that, right? There's intricacies to being able to play, right? And I dare say, in my opinion, it's easier to mess that up more noticeably than it is to mess up, something verbal that you're saying, right? And not that you're not going to mess up, and that's something that I really want to kind of point out is you're going to mess up. Just come to terms with it, right? That is a given, right? I often like to think of the aspect of when you see young children learning something for the first time, like let's say they're doing taekwondo or they're doing soccer or baseball, right? They'll do a kick, right, for taekwondo, and they'll fall flat on their face, right? And they'll get right back up and they'll do it again, right? Because that aspect of ego has not yet kicked in, right? But you see a teenager or an adult do that, same thing, and they try one time and that's it. They fail, they think they suck at it, they're horrible at it, and they never want to do it again, right? And I'm sorry to say, but anybody who's good at anything has a drastic history of humility behind it as well, where, I have failed more times than you guys have tried at something, right? So, in regard to that anxiety, a third of the world is going to love you, a third of the world is going to hate you, and a third of the world isn't going to care who you are, right? That's a quote from one of my favorite musicians. And this idea of almost kind of like, you ever heard of the business rule, like the 80-20 or the 90-10 rule, right? So 80% of your profit comes from 20% of your clientele, right? So you have to kind of have the courage of your convictions to focus on the people that are going to care what you have to say, or are wanting you to succeed, or are willing to pay you for your service or your product, right? So if I had to give advice, do it as much as possible. Put yourself out there, right? I always love the idea of saying, hey, go find an open mic night somewhere and just do it. Go find one of your classes and say to your professor, hey, can I have the last 5 minutes of class to practice a speech in front of everybody? And here's the thing, nobody does it. Nobody does it, because the idea of actually willfully putting yourself out there is horrifying to most people. It really is, right? What does practice look like for a lot of people, right? They sit in their bedroom and they read it over and over again to their hamster or their cat or their dog or their boyfriend or their girlfriend or their brother or their sister or their mom and their dad. That doesn't count. That's not practicing public speaking, right? The idea of a public is you don't know them, right? So you have to put yourself out there in that situation to actually make sure that you are inducing the anxiety, because a lot of public speaking is about dealing with anxiety and stress, right? You're evoking the basic physiological response of fight, flight, or freeze, right? So it also makes me laugh whenever, we have, I teach in-person classes. It makes me laugh when people come in there drinking an energy drink. And I'm just like screaming in my head, oh yeah, that's a good idea, right? You're gonna already be under adrenaline. Let's go ahead and, throw a ramped up version of caffeine at you. And it's just kind of laughable to me sometimes, right? There's an aspect of common sense that goes into some of these things, right? Go to bed at a reasonable time. Get enough sleep, right? Wake up at a reasonable time. Eat breakfast. Drink green tea or something calming. Maybe exercise a little bit, right? Don't drink an energy drink, right? All of these things, and people just don't do it, And I think a lot of it realistically comes down to an aspect of will, right? Will in the sense that you have to care in order to give an effort at something, right? And a lot of people, sorry to say, college in a lot of capacities, classes that they're required to take for degree programs, people just don't care about them. They're doing it to check a box. And I like to perpetuate the idea, and I have the luxury of doing so, especially for public speaking. I think the idea of communication and public speaking is hands down one of the most, if not the most important skill set that you can have. Because I have seen it with my own eyes and experienced it, and I hope that you can vicariously learn the lesson, which is you could have two identical individuals who have the same credentials, right? And one of them can talk and the other one can't. And the person who is charismatic and good at speaking, they are the one that's gonna get the job, okay? I'll use one last example. I don't want to keep you too long, but the idea of, people putting in job applications online, that one makes me laugh. I'm sorry, it does. It makes me laugh. Because you know who the person is who gets the job? The person who throws on the three-piece suit and walks into the place, hands them a resume and hands them a job application and says, hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm looking for work, I'm available now. That's the person who gets the job, putting in, 800 applications on LinkedIn or Monster or ZipRecruiter. I'm sorry, that is like just throwing pasta at a wall and seeing what sticks, I know somebody personally to me that they put in something like 1,500 applications over the course of like 3 months, and it most of them were just dead in the water before they even started, right? You have to put yourself out there, and we have become, as a species, okay with this idea of anonymity and swiping left and swiping right and not actually having to look somebody in the eye and engage them. And it's detrimental. It really is. I think back to when we were in quarantine because of COVID, right? I feel so bad for people who were in like middle school when that happened, because those were core, fundamental, developmental years of developing interpersonal and dyadic relationship and communication skills. And you look at now and it's just like, yeah, they're not where they should be. And so I know I threw a lot at you. I hope maybe some of this was helpful to you. As always, I'm willing to help in any way I can, so message me, hit me up. I hope you guys watch these and I hope you enjoy them. I wish you well, and I will be grading your entertainment speeches here soon. So I wish you well, and I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I'll catch you guys later. All right, bye.